Hi everyone, welcome to part 3 of our Easter edition of Reading with Rushbrook. Today it's Easter Sunday, so we're going to read the resurrection. Sadly, Jesus' friends took his body, wrapped it in clean white linen cloths and laid it carefully in a tomb. It was a newly made cave, and they closed the entrance with an enormous stone so that no harm could come to Jesus' body from robbers or wild beasts. The chief priests were worried too. They went to the governor Pontius Pilate and said, "We must guard that tomb. This man once told his followers that he was going to rise from the dead after 3 days. They might come and steal the body, then pretend he has come back to life. It could cause a lot of trouble." "Take a guard and make the tomb secure," said Pilate. So they sealed up the entrance and put soldiers on guard outside. On the 3rd day, very early in the morning, Mary Magdalene and a friend came to the tomb. They hoped to put precious ointment and better wrappings on the body because of their love for Jesus. When they got there, they were terrified to see what the enormous stone had been rolled aside and the tomb was empty. They looked at the place where Jesus' dead body had been laid and saw that it was gone. Mary Magdalene ran and found 2 of the disciples. "He's gone," she said. "Someone has taken Jesus' body and I don't know where they have laid him." They ran back to the tomb with her. One of the disciples was Peter. He looked into the tomb and saw the linen cloths the body had been wrapped in lying there. The 2 disciples went off to tell the others, but Mary stayed by the tomb weeping. She looked in again at the place where the body had been, and suddenly she saw 2 angels in white sitting there. They said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? He is risen." Then another voice said, "Why are you weeping? Who are you looking for?" Mary thought it was the gardener and said through her tears, "Sir, if you have taken this body away, please tell me where." The man said, "Mary!" And she turned and saw that it was Jesus himself alive. Great joy filled her heart. That evening, the disciples met in a room with locked doors. Suddenly Jesus appeared in the room, saying, "Peace be with you." He showed them his hands where the nails had been hammered through them, and the wound in his side. The disciples could not believe at first that Jesus was real and not a ghost. So Jesus asked for food, and they gave him some fish, and he ate it. Then he solemnly said to them, "Peace be with you. My Father sent me, and now I send you out into the world." The disciples that saw Jesus believed that he had truly risen from the dead. But one of the 12, Thomas, was not with them in the room when Jesus came. Later, when the others told him that Jesus was alive again, he refused to believe them. Thomas said, "I won't believe it until I see the mark of the nails in his hands and touch the wound in his side." A week later, when the disciples met again, Thomas was with them. Again, even though all the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." He called Thomas over and said, "Put out your finger, feel my hands. Put your hand in the wound in my side. Have faith, believe." Thomas exclaimed, "My Lord and my God." Jesus answered, "Thomas, you have seen me and believed, but those people who have not seen me and still believe are more blessed." Jesus appeared to his disciples on other occasions. Once he showed himself at the Sea of Tiberias, when some of them were fishing. He told them to cast out their nets on the other side of the boat, and suddenly they caught lots of fish. Jesus made a fire and gave them bread, and they cooked the fish together and ate it. Jesus spoke to the disciples, telling them to go out into the world and tell everyone what they had seen and what they believed, and to baptize all of those who had faith. Jesus told them that he had to return to heaven, but he would send the Holy Spirit to help them carry on God's work. The Holy Spirit would be in everyone who believed, giving them the power to do all the things that God wanted them to do. After Jesus had finished speaking, he was lifted into the air and vanished on a bright cloud. The disciples never saw him on earth again. But while they looked up at the sky, 2 angels came and said, "Jesus will come back to you one day, in the same way that you have seen him taken up into heaven." That was the end of Jesus' life on earth, but for his followers, it was the beginning of their work. Many people joined them, and the church grew quickly. The 12 disciples became the first Christian teachers, travelling around to bring everybody the good news about Jesus, the Son of God who came to save the world. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful Easter.